What's up, y'all? Welcome to the video. Today we'll be continuing the Souls-like combat series with some more setup for our character assets. In the previous video, we imported those assets from Mixamo, and today we'll be putting together some animation blueprints for both our boss and our enemy. And along with that, we'll also be putting together some animation montages for those characters. Now with all of that said, let's get right into the tutorial. Alrighty, now back in Unreal, we're going to go and first we're going to create an animation blueprint for our enemies, and so that is going to be in our zombie folder with animations. Right click, I'm going to create a new animation blueprint. I'm going to set that to the zombie skeleton, and then we're going to just name this BP zombie anims. And the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to create a new state machine. And we'll just name that main states. And then we're also going to need a slot so that our montages will work properly with the animation blueprint. Connect all that. We should be good there. Now we'll go into main states. We're going to create a few new states here. And this first one, idle. And then this one will be called walking, or walk. And to set the animations in here, we're first going to go hop in there, and then we're going to select our animation on the sidebar here in our asset browser. And if we hit compile on that, you'll see now our idle animation is playing right over here. I'm going to do the same for walk. And that's not showing quite yet, but that is because we need to properly set up our transitions. So if we hop into our transition right here, you'll see we'll have a Boolean condition that'll dictate when this transition happens. And so the way we can actually do this is we're going to actually create a variable down here, and we're going to call this is moving. And if is moving is true, then we'll transition. However, we'll also make a new transition here. And if is moving is not true, we're going to take this not Boolean node right here, and we'll move right back into idle. Now, a way that we connect this is we're going to go right over up here to our event graph, and we're going to take this and we're going to check if is valid. And we're going to connect these. This get pawn owner is basically going to be our character that we're trying to animate. And we're then going to set is moving to whichever value. And the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to the component or get velocity. Our vector length, and if this is greater than 0, then we should be moving. And that should be all set for the zombie. Now, the last thing we're going to want to do for the enemy is we're going to want to create some animation montages. So the way we can do that is we can right click our animations, go to create anim montage, and we'll now have an animation montage which we can trigger from our code. And it'll be the same exact attack animation. Now on top of this, we're also going to create a new montages folder. We'll just move all our montages in there. And we're going to create some montages for the rest of these. So we got our dying, our hit reaction, and that should be good. So now we're going to go over into our mutant folder, and we're going to set up the same stuff for our boss, but we're going to do something a little bit different. So firstly, we're going to do the same process of creating an animation blueprint. We're going to set that to the mutant skeleton. Create a new state machine, hook that up to a slot. Call that main states again. And if we step into here, I'm going to create two states, which is going to be idle. We're going to add a new state, and this is actually going to be walk, run. We'll hook this up right here. So that looks good. And the way we're going to go about our walk run cycle, so as you can see, we have two animations here. We have our walking and we have our running, but we can't hook those up at the same time to one output. So the way we're actually going to solve that is we're going to go and create a blend space. So I'm going to go into a folder here. Let's create a blend spaces folder. I click on animation, create a blend space. Mutant skeleton. We'll just call this BS mutant walk run. And now, as you can see, we have our blend space created. And now the great thing about blend spaces is that we can actually use them to, well, blend together our animations. So if we go and we drag out our run animation right here as like a little keyframe, we put walking right here, you can see as we go up and down the scale, we can go from just normal walking to full-on running. And we can have more control over these values on the side right here through our horizontal axis. And we're going to just name this speed. And we'll have the max be something like 600, so we get a little bit more breathing room with that cycle. And now where this point lies on the graph is actually just going to depend on what speed we actually feed into it from the animation controller. So whatever speed the actor is going to be running is going to dictate which animation it plays on here. So now that that is all set up, we're going to go back over here, and in our walk run state, we'll see right here our blend space is available to put in there, but what it's missing is a value for speed. And so we're going to go into the event graph and create a variable for speed. This will just be a float. And we're going to go make sure our font is valid. And just set the speed to the length of our vector for the velocity. Length. Should be good. And now if we go back into this walk run state, we can take speed and just feed it right on into here. Now the rest of this is just going to be the same as the enemy. We're going to also create a is moving boolean. Sure that's a boolean, and we're going to set up our transitions the same way. So if is moving is true, then we'll go into our blend space, and if not, then we'll go back to idle. And then this whole state machine should be all set here, but we need to make sure that we are setting is moving. So we're going to go over into here. We'll just set is moving. And since we're already getting the velocity and the vector length here, we can actually just check if speed is greater than 0. Set that there. And now the animation blueprint should be all set. So lastly, what we're going to do for all of this, we're just going to go and create our animation montages as well. So we're going to need one for our jump attack, for flexing, looks like we have a second jump attack animation. A roaring animation. And swiping. And these should be all set. Oops, looks like I accidentally made a composite instead of an animation montage. So we can delete that. We're going to go back over here. Create a montage. We'll put that in there. Okay, perfect. Looks like swiping's working. So there you have it. We now have our character assets set up with their animations taken care of. Now we can shift our focus into building up the combat system itself and creating our AI for both the enemies and the boss. For the next video, I'll be covering some basic AI decision making using behavior trees and blackboards, and we'll also be getting into coding a simple movement task and controller for our enemy AI to use. Until then, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.